In this regard, I don't think it's I don't think it's a matter of if I want her back, because that's my utmost desire.
Honestly, understanding this man's thought process will never make sense to me. Never make sense to me. But luckily, in this episode, his sister, his brother-in-law, and also his friend, they were talking sense. But it makes you wonder, for somebody that appears to be so intelligent and so in touch with just emotions and whatnot, you would think that he would see the things that everybody says to him in this episode. But let's continue.
My feelings towards her is not just a feeling of affection, but also a feeling of compassion. You know, when she told me about her previous relationship, that we are toxic, that she was mistreated, that nobody has ever respected nor loved her nor cared about her.
Listen, I understand that maybe she came from relations where people treated a certain type of way, but that does not mean that you take on the burden of being the guy to fix those issues or to prove to her that not all men are like that. Because at the end of the day, there's a difference between a burden and somebody seeing you for who you are. So at the end of the day, if you're in a relationship with this woman and you have shown yourself by no effort, but just who you are naturally, that you are not one of these clowns, if she's unable to see it, that's on her. Simple as that. But there is no part of you, my apologies, hold on, I find it very hard to clear my throat right now. But the bottom line is this, okay? If you're gonna be in a relationship with somebody who has trauma from ex-relationships, do not continue that relationship with that person as if now you've got to be on a mission to prove to that person that you are better or you are not the same as others. Because then that before becomes a burden. And then when it becomes a burden, it becomes tiring. When it becomes tiring, it's like, what the hell am I actually here for? Am I in this relationship to actually be me, or am I here to prove a point? No one should ever be in a relationship to try and prove a point. But if somebody tells you that they've been through all these things, all you got to do is proceed as you are as a person. It gives you no pressure, and if that person's able to see that you are a genuine person, that is fantastic. If they're unable to see it, I'd probably just leave, because I'm definitely not going to put myself in a position where now I feel like I have to prove something, because it becomes a burden onto me, a burden that I do not deserve, because I'm not the one that caused these issues or treated you in this way that people did in the past. But anyway, all I'm saying is, at the end of the day, I understand that he wants to be there for her. He wants to, allow her back in his life or whatnot, but he's got to look at the bigger picture. And what is the bigger picture? Well, let's get into it.
So, please,
be there for
yes,
her.
be there for her.
There is this war mentality that she has.
Yeah.
Is you and me are a team against her. So she doesn't believe in this harmony.
That's bigger picture number one. War mentality, two to be fair. War mentality and harmony. Okay? There is no point of being with somebody that wants to put you in a position of ultimatum. Fair enough, your family's had challenges with Rayne, and Rayne's had challenges with your family. But the grand scheme of it is that she is the one that's been pushing the whole agenda of trying to pull you away from your family so she can have it all to herself. That is not a good woman. That is not a good person. Okay? Now, of course, we know that there's been situations with your sister and her, which you can say that maybe your sister may not have made life easy for Rayne, potentially. But to be fair, the biggest problem has not been his sister, nor has it been his brother-in-law. The biggest problem has been Rayne, because she has war mentality. She's very quick to have her back up against the wall. And also on top of that, she did tell him prior that she does have issues with her man having sisters, because sisters always get involved, which therefore meant that she was projecting her past onto you. And therefore, she was really judging your sister before she even knew who your sister was. So she even put your sister in a position where your sister had to become a bit defensive. So the grand scheme of it is that, listen to what your sister's saying here. You should not want to be with somebody that has a war mentality. Do not allow love to blind you. Do not allow yourself to be with somebody that wants to put you in a position where it's a case of where you're choosing them over us. The sister even says that I'm not asking you to choose her or us, but this is the situation that we are in. It is one of those situations because of her behavior. But anyway, let's see what the friend had to say.
You can manage your temperament, especially moving in with her or she moving in with you.
I don't think I can put up with that.
And it's crazy how he wasn't even thinking about that part, because he has told us throughout the season that he knows that Rayne has a big mouth. He knows that she has a temper. He knows that she goes too far. He knows all of these things. Why was you unable to ask yourself these questions? Maybe we can say love blinded him. Maybe love stopped him from asking himself these blatant questions. Maybe that's what we can say, right? But the good thing is that his friend has asked him this question. And he's had to answer the question. And he now understands that, hey, that temper is probably not safe for me to be around. That temper is probably not good for his own soul. Definitely not good for his own peace.
And I bought that, obviously, with Chidi in mind, thinking that if he touched it, he would love it.
First and foremost, she knows that he's already said no to any advances, any physical advances, okay? So for her to go out and buy this thing and then talk about how, when he touches it, he may feel a certain type of way is ludicrous. And also, when she initially started out recording, she was talking to the camera as if he could actually see what she's looking like. Bruh, are you crazy? Let's not answer that question because we know she is. But at the end of the day, I guess to be fair, this is her now proving one of the points that he was trying to prove himself. And that was the point of the end of the day. Well, guess what? If you do get me all to yourself, then you may actually try and manipulate me to actually be intimate with you. But that does not change what I've always said. I've always said at the end of the day, if he's true to his word that he does not want to be intimate with her into marriage, then therefore he should be able to be strong regardless of how she behaves. Regardless. Point blank clear, because I know for myself in particular, I know plenty of people. If I do not want to have it, I am not going to give it to you. Doesn't matter what temptations you bring my way. It's not happening. I ain't gonna lie to you. If I'm in a position where the temptation is being put my way, I'm walking out. That's how I handle the situation. I don't just stay there. You know what I mean? Like, allowing the person to keep daggering me. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I leave. Yeah, I leave. 100%. But anyway, I understand that leaving may not be as easy as 1 to 3 for himself in particular. But hey, either way though, if he did stay with her in the hotel and she did try things on him, guess what? That would be the perfect way of him knowing that this woman is not good for him. That would be the perfect way of him knowing that this woman will even lie to him just to get him in a position where he does not want to be in. So sometimes in life, you've got to go through certain things to get that clarification that this person actually is not good for you. Because here's the thing. When we avoid putting ourselves in positions with people, we are also missing out on finding out that person's true colors. Let's not forget that. That's why sometimes fear isn't good for us. Okay, sometimes caution is not good for us. Sometimes we have to put ourselves in these positions to identify this person. This is why I always say to all the people that I know, especially my guy friends, I say to them, bro, when you meet a chick, when you meet a woman, okay, do not be one of these people that hides away their emotions and how you're feeling, or one of these people that's closed off and doesn't want to talk about their trauma. Be as open as you can. Be as open as possible about who you are. Talk about your traumas. Tell them everything. Tell them everything. Because what's going to happen is one day you're going to have a conflict or something. If she uses what you've told her against you, then you know she's not for you. Boom, bam. Okay? It is easy to figure out sooner rather than later. If you start opening up 2-3 years later, or however long later, and then she uses it, that means you've lost those years with the wrong person. When you could have been out potentially already with the right person, this is what I'm saying. Holding back does you no favors. Does you no favors. Tell him. And also on top of that, in that same conversation when you are saying, okay, so this is what I went through, blah, 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 whatever her responses are going to be to you are going to tell you whether she's a good person for you or not. 100%. But only you can judge that in that situation. Because you know what responses you're looking for. Now, of course, the same thing happens vice versa. But I'm talking about in a male perspective. I know it's men that are notoriously known for being closed books and not being open and not being vulnerable enough. And then doing it later on the stage and later on in life or whatever. This is what I'm saying. Which is why I'm talking about it from the male perspective. Point being, like I said before, in my opinion, I understand about safety and all that. But I also do believe that he should have just gone with her to the hotel and seen how she had behaved. And if she had done what she had disobeyed, and if she had disobeyed what he had asked, that would have given him all the answers he needed.
Maybe he'll open his eyes big enough to see how much his family has really come between us. If he loves me and he cares for me, then he would never let me walk away.
Yeah, we'll just let Rayne continue to believe that. Yeah. Not because we know that these two obviously haven't worked out, but purely because from what we've seen in this season, we'll just let her believe that. Yeah. And to be fair, I will say this, going back to what Chidi was saying earlier on, he was talking about the fact that she said in her past, this is what's happened with her past partners, and this is why obviously he doesn't want to be the same. Well, Chidi, one last thing. There is her side of the story, then there are her ex's side of the story, and then there's the truth. Just because she told you a few things doesn't necessarily mean it's accurate to the truth, okay? Bear that in mind too at the same time. Because to be honest with you, we also have to ask ourselves, does her behavior reflect the information that she has told you? A part of it may say yes, it does reflect it. A part of it may say no, it doesn't reflect it. But let's just say yes, her behavior does reflect what she's told him. It doesn't give her the permission to then behave the way she behaves. Point blank, period. The woman is continuously moving mad. It's nuts. With that being said, let me know your thoughts. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and of course, peace.